Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday evening to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there tonight. Had yourselves a wonderful day, and I hope everyone's had a great beginning to their week out there so far. We got a ton of information to go over, folks, and we're going to cover two different winter storms. We're going to bring a lot of detail with these updates. So the first system we'll cover is winter storm number 1, which will happen before winter storm number 2. This one will impact areas of the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic. It could bring impacts as far west as maybe southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, not expecting much from it. And then as far north as maybe New York City, southern New England, and maybe as far south as northern areas of North Carolina, which we now have newly issued winter weather advisories. But the heart of this winter storm is certainly going to be Virginia, West Virginia, even areas of Kentucky now, which is a state where confidence has actually increased for more accumulating snow. The Delmarva area, southern New Jersey. So we're going to speak on this system first, bring you a lot of detail, show you those individual graphics from the National Weather Service. If it doesn't show your town or city on the map, chances are it's going to show one pretty close to you. So we'll speak on that first, and then we'll shift towards winter storm number 2, and that is for the plains, to the Midwest, all the way up to the Great Lakes region. This is also going to impact areas of the Northeast too, where we don't have any winter weather advisories or winter storm watches up for that area yet, but we probably will eventually. So after we get done covering all of that, we will spend some time breaking down past these two winter storms. There's a third one too that's most likely going to hit areas to the north, but I'm very interested to see what happens after that. As we get into next week, I think winter weather chances could shift a little bit further south. So stay tuned. If you're from the south, you're like, man, this is boring. I don't really care about any areas to the north. Stay tuned for the end of the video. There might be a little hope as we get for the second half of February. So we'll talk about the long range. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And I just want to remind you guys, timestamps are up throughout the entire video. Chances are you're going to get the information you're seeking. You just got to make your way through the timestamps. And more importantly, if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. We're almost at 100K, guys. I mean, we're like literally 80 subscribers away. Pretty wild stuff. So, but anyways, let's get rocking and rolling. So this is the latest watches, warnings, and advisories map. Up-to-date information as of around just after 6 p.m. Eastern time. Let's zoom into this area first. This is winter storm number 1. Winter weather advisories expanding from like Springfield, Missouri through southern areas, just a few southern counties of Illinois, Evansville. Once we started getting to Louisville, they've actually upgraded to winter storm warnings now. Louisville, Lexington, up to Maysville, Elizabethtown, winter storm warnings up down to Richmond, all the way over to, let's back it up a little bit. I think I said Lexington already. Eastern areas of Kentucky, even some southern counties of Ohio have winter storm warnings now. And of course, we got winter storm warnings in the pink all the way through Charleston, all the way down to Roanoke, all the way over to Lynchburg, Danville. You have winter storm warnings, Richmond, Washington, D.C., Charlottesville, all the way through the Delmarva, southern New Jersey. Somebody said in the comments I never mentioned New Jersey. I feel like I've mentioned New Jersey every single time over the last several videos. But anyways, winter storm warnings for Atlantic City, Dover. We do have winter weather advisories in the purple, which goes all the way up to southern PA, all the way about, I would say, halfway up through New Jersey, Philadelphia. You have winter weather advisories. Baltimore, only under a winter weather advisory. That could change. One county south of you does have winter storm warnings. Winter weather advisories down to Bristol, well, not quite into Bristol, but looks like some winter weather advisories like in southern areas of Kentucky. We got winter weather advisories up to Cincinnati. And what's wild to me is we now have winter weather advisories all the way down to Durham, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, all the way down to Hickory, all the way down to Asheville, Hendersonville. So we could get a brief wintry mix tomorrow morning, some freezing rain, a little bit of sleet, could get a burst of snow even in the northern counties of North Carolina. We're about to speak on all that. So this is the first system, watches and warnings for the second. This is what you got here. Confidence is already sky high. We're going to get a winter storm in areas of Kansas, the northern counties of Kansas. Kansas City, winter storm warnings up. Topeka, winter storm warnings up to St. Joseph. Winter storm watches in the Teal, Dodge City, Wichita. Winter weather advisories down to Amarillo, Woodard, just north of Oklahoma City, but not quite into the area. We do have winter weather advisories in Colorado. Hanging on to winter storm watches in the eastern counties of Colorado. Those should get upgraded to winter storm warnings. Winter storm watches are now issued as far north as Des Moines, Dubuque, Davenport, all the way to Chicago. This is going to be probably a big one for you guys in Chicago. All the way through Lansing, confidence is already high enough to put winter storm watches up north of Detroit. We'll see what happens in Detroit itself, but winter storm watches in northern areas of Indiana and all the way up to Milwaukee, Chicago. Yeah, so this is going to be a big one. Maybe your biggest winter storm of the winter season for these areas. So we talked about that enough. Let's break down the winter storm number 1. So, yes, I know I'm kind of leaving Missouri out. You guys could get a little bit of snow tomorrow morning after midnight tonight. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I'm going to really start off in the most highlighted areas, which is Kentucky points east. So this is around 3 o'clock in the morning tonight, okay? This isn't like later this week. This is tonight. This is a cold rain. I've been saying this. You can almost smell the snow in Tennessee and southern Kentucky, but it's just not quite cold enough. But you continue to move into Tuesday morning. There's going to be a band of very heavy snow, maybe from southern areas, maybe as far north as like Carbondale. But Evansville could get some heavy snow waking up tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. Heavy snow in Kentucky, central Kentucky. How far north will it get? I think there will be an axis of heaviest, I would say heavy snow that shifts all the way up into southern Ohio. Snowing pretty hard in northern Kentucky. Louisville, it's snowing pretty good. Lexington, snowing very hard. But this is just a cold rain in the southern counties of Kentucky. We'll see if we can hang on to snow a little bit longer than maybe what this model's showing. But we're not going to show a bunch of model guidance. Let's just show one model, roll with it, and I'm going to roll with the Euro. But as we're getting into Tuesday afternoon, still snowing in southern Ohio, northern Kentucky. Snow starting to move into western West Virginia. And then we start to get into later tomorrow night. Some of these areas that are snowing pretty heavily most of the day might switch to a little bit of rain late tomorrow evening. We'll see what happens. And then the next system is right on its heels, and we could end as a little freezing rain. And then most likely, say if you get several inches of snow in Kentucky, you're going to get rain falling on top of your snow. So get the kids out there, enjoy it before the rain moves in, because it's just a low pressure is going to cut right over you and bring a lot of warm air. So, but moving forward here, we start to look at the highlight zone of this winter storm. Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, etc. As we're moving forward here, there's the heavy snow tomorrow morning. It's crazy. We're at this storm now. Southern West Virginia, Western Virginia. Okay, snow's moving in. We take it to about lunchtime, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Snowing heavily down here in Beckley. Charleston should be getting some heavy snow at this point. You're going to get very heavy snow in Roanoke, surrounding areas up to Lynchburg, Charlottesville. But you quickly could turn into a nasty icy mix in this pink and orange. That is freezing rain, sleet. And then we start to get into the afternoon hours. This is going to be the opportunity for Richmond to get some heavy wet snow right at the beginning of this. And I'm telling you, this is going to be very heavy snow in central VA. Heavy snow. All right, look at the snow starting to move into southern areas of Maryland. Snow begins to move into Delaware. The Delmarva begins to get very heavy snow. And here it is. There's the icing beginning to develop tomorrow evening. So this is nasty freezing rain down here in Boone. Danville could be getting more freezing rain than what this is showing. Typically, the freezing rain likes to hang around a little bit longer than what models indicate. But it is snowing like crazy up in Charlottesville. Snow begins to pick up in the D.C. area, the panhandle of West Virginia. How far north will it get? Will we get some heavy snow like in Hagerstown, for example? But we continue and we start to get into the late evening hours. This is 10 p.m. Look, see that darker blue, guys? Riding over the intercoastal areas of like Maryland into Dover. This is going to be a band that someone could sneak and get over 8 inches of snow. We'll have to see. Look at all that freezing rain beginning to take over. You start to mix maybe as you get into late tomorrow night, like into Wednesday morning, maybe all the way up to Charlottesville. And then everything begins to lighten up and then it reloads again. And we start to enter that winter storm number 2, which is going to be a lot of rain. And the same thing back in Kentucky. You're probably going to get a lot of snow, but then a lot of rain falling on top of that lot of snow. That don't make any sense, but you get what I'm saying. And then we move it up the road a little bit. I do want to show some love up to southern New England. And as we're starting to get into, say, the middle of the night tomorrow night, this snow will try to get up to New York City, all the way up to Long Island. See, this lighter blue, that's, well, I would say, yeah, the lighter blue is lighter snow. We're getting some heavy snow up into Philadelphia, Baltimore for sure. Southern areas of New Jersey, it's snowing, but you can tell there's much lighter stuff up in northern New Jersey. How far north will this band of snow get up to New York City, Long Island? It's going to be plenty cold enough. This is like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning. We're getting some snow. Could get a several hour period of some moderate snow, could accumulate for sure, and then it heads on out. And then the next winter storm moves in. So let's begin to break down. What I'll tell you is they have not brought us any updated graphics out of Paducah, and I'm not sure why they have not, but I guess maybe they're sticking with the original forecast. So Merriam, 1 to 2 inches of snow in Illinois. Mount Vernon, 0 to 1, and in Farmington, maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow off this event and moving in. We do have some upgraded graphics, though, as we start to move into further east into Kentucky. Evansville, I think you can get about 1 inch or 2 inches of snow. Louisville, you got winter storm warnings. 2 to 4 inches of snow. Elizabethtown, 2 to 4. Hartford, 1 to 2. Danville, 3 to 4. Richmond, 4 to 6. Lexington, Kentucky, 4 to 6. Winter storm warnings are up. I'm actually surprised they have winter storm warnings up in Louisville for 2 to 4 inches of snow. I thought your winter storm warning criteria, was a little bit higher in this, but we could get a little bit of freezing rain out of this area, but I wouldn't expect much. And then we start to move a little bit further east in Kentucky. Hazard, maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow. Mount Sterling, 4 to 6. Flemingsburg, 3 to 6. Paintsville, 2 to 4. London, maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow. A touch of freezing rain in this area, but I don't think it'll be a huge deal. Now, this is what kind of got me. We actually have winter storm warnings up for some of these counties, like in Portsmouth. Georgetown, I believe, has winter storm warnings up for 2 to 4 inches of snow. And it's got a little confusing to me, because I thought that would warrant like winter weather advisory type stuff. But hey, maybe they're anticipating a northerly trend. But Cincinnati itself, maybe about 1 to 2 inches of snow, but definitely some accumulating snow for southern Ohio. And then we start to get into Charleston and then southeastern Ohio. Southeastern Ohio could get several inches of snow. Grayson, 5, 6 inches of snow. Jackson, 3, 3.5. Athens, 3 and 3.5. Parkersburg, same thing. Charleston, maybe around 3 inches of snow. Ripley, 4 to 5. Logan, 3. Beckley, going for a half a foot of snow now. Grundy, 2, 2.5. Snowshoe, going for 10 inches of snow now. Elkins, around 6. So it's going to be a big snowstorm for some of these ski resort areas. And then we are going to have to deal with a little bit of ice. Few and hundredths of an inch of ice, especially once you get into eastern West Virginia. Beckley, a few and hundredths of an inch. Not a huge deal, but the freezing rain issue is really big here in southwestern VA. So Lewisburg in West Virginia, 7, 8 inches. I would say Roanoke to Blacksburg could get anywhere from 3.5 to 5 inches of snow. Wytheville, 3 to 4 inches. Bluefield, 5, 5.5. Lynchburg, around 4 inches of snow. Danville, maybe a couple tenths of an inch. And it drops off pretty fast down here. The concerning thing is you mix the ice with this. And this takes us through about 7 a.m. Thursday. I think this is mixing a little bit of both systems together. Boone, maybe a tenth of an inch of ice. Danville, 1/10 to 2/10. What was that? Martinsville, over 3/10 of an inch of ice. Roanoke, I could see you guys getting a 1/4 inch. Blacksburg going for over 3/10 of an inch of freezing rain. I mean, guys, it's going to be big issues, right? A few to almost several inches of snow mixed with over a 1/4 inch of freezing rain. This is going to be a high-impact winter storm in southwestern VA, guys. Do not let this catch you off guard. If you were just getting 3, 4 inches of just straight snow, no ice, probably not a huge deal for this area. But you're going to mix this freezing rain. Snow is going to quickly change to freezing rain. And listen, this is an area also where I could say, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I could see where snow totals do not achieve what this shows. I think 5 inches of snow in Blacksburg is pretty high. I don't know. Just my opinion. I like to throw my opinion in here. But, one thing that's changed is in Western North Carolina, they're calling for some ice. Marion, 1/10 of an inch of ice. Hickory, the Statesville, a couple 1/100ths of an inch. Lenore, maybe closer to 1/10. Maybe around Mount Mitchell, a quarter inch of freezing rains possible. Newland, around 1/10 of an inch. So, yeah, and then Raleigh, north of Raleigh, some areas in Henderson, Roanoke Rapids, Roxborough could get a couple 1/10 of an inch of snow. Maybe Winston-Salem. It might be enough to briefly make the ground look white before, it switches to some light freezing rain, which, Roxborough calling for a 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. So there is definitely going to be a light wintry mix at least tomorrow morning up in these areas. It's kind of trended a little bit colder for this area. Now, Southeast Virginia, Richmond, going for around 3.5. All right. Acomac, 2.5 inches of snow. Salisbury, 6.5. Cambridge, 7 inches of snow. Get south of Petersburg, they're going for around 2. Williamsburg going about 1.5 inches, couple tenths of an inch south of these areas. Farmville, 2.5 inches of snow. Louisa, 6.5. We'll see what happens. I want to see if Richmond can actually get 3 inches of snow, because I don't know. I hope you guys do, for winter weather fans. Farmville going for over 1/4 inch of freezing rain. Richmond, if you get 3 inches of snow with 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain, certainly going to cause some issues. But you head on up to more of the jackpot area. And Fredericksburg, 6 to 8. Orange, 6 to 8. Charlottesville, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Harrisonburg, 6 inches. Luray, 6 to 8. Warrenton, 4 to 6. Lessens up a little bit. DC going for 4 to 8. Annapolis, 4 to 6. Baltimore, 4 to 6. Winchester, 3 to 4. Cumberland, 4 to 6. Oakland, 4 to 6. Hagerstown, 2 to 3. Baltimore, already said that, 4 to 6. Bel Air, 3 to 4. Elkton, 3 to 4. Lexington Park, 6 to 8. It's going to be a pretty big winter storm for this area. And then we head on over to southern areas of New Jersey. Several inches of snow. Atlantic City, 6. Vineland, 5. Cape May, maybe closer to 6.5, 7. Dover, over 1/2 foot of snow is forecast right now. And just remember, these are graphics from the National Weather Service. This isn't graphics Mitch made. Sometimes I read the comments and I think people think that this is what I am calling for. When I get this close to a storm, I like to show you guys what the experts are calling for. I don't have the time to make an individual graphic for every single state. Man, I would be working on that all day, right? But Philadelphia, 3.5 inches of snow. Wilmington, closer to 4. Allentown, 1.5 inches or so. So maybe a little ice in this area, but I doubt it with this first system. And then this is PA. You get down to Gettysburg, 3 inches. Harrisburg, 2 inches. Allentown, 2 inches. I know I butcher Reading and Reading and Allentown all the time. Anyway, I think you guys get what I'm saying. But 4 inches of snow in Breezewood. I think I already said that. State College, 2 inches. Scranton, maybe 1 inch. Binghamton, same thing. Not much in western PA, though. And then it's increased for the New York City area, going for around 3 inches of snow in New York City. Newark, 4. Long Island, just about everybody going for 3 inches of snow. Bridgeport, 3. New Haven, 2. So it is definitely increased for this area. And then even heading up to southern New England, going for around 2 inches or less. So I think this is combining a little bit with the second system too, though. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's an update with that, guys. Moving west, looking at this system for the central into the Ohio Valley, into the Northeast and the Great Lakes region. Let's look at the latest Euro and what it's showing here. Let's see if we have the 06Z Euro. We do, so we're good. All right, so we're going to start this off. We're going to get, this is late tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. So this is like midnight tomorrow night. We got snow flying around in areas of Wyoming, all across Colorado, northern New Mexico. We got snow breaking loose across the middle of the country. We start to get into Wednesday morning. All-out snowstorm breaks out in Kansas. We got an icy mix down here in northern areas of Oklahoma and the Pink. We got light freezing rain down here. And Amarillo, heavy snow begins to move through Kansas City. Heavy snow begins to move through the northern areas of Missouri. We got some ice down here in south central Missouri. Still a little bit of a freezing rain, maybe as far south as Tulsa or Oklahoma City. Let's make sure we got this on right. We do. We continue to move forward here. Man, this looks like it's almost lessened up a little bit. So, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like the system on the 18Z has definitely lessened the precipitation up a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be a trend. Let's hope not for winter weather fans. But as we continue to move into Ohio Valley, let's go on and switch it. And this continues. Snow moving across the northern half of Illinois. Snow into Iowa. Let's back it up a little bit. Snow especially affects southern, southeastern, and eastern areas of Iowa. Look at the snow making it all the way up into the UP of Michigan. Milwaukee certainly getting to that moderate snow. And then got a 999 millibar low. We'll stop it right here. We're starting to get wintry weather moving into even Cleveland, but Detroit getting kind of an icy mix. Indianapolis, you're right on the fringe of rain and freezing rain. Detroit, wintry mix. Chicago, this is heavy snow around the actual city and just south. What about like St. Louis? It looks like you guys have an icy mix of freezing rain. Could get some significant icing, but you can see there's a pretty significant ice corridor showing up here. Like this is around 9-10 p.m. Wednesday night, and we continue. This is a major winter storm cranking up across lower Michigan, and then any kind of snow begins to shift to freezing rain, unfortunately, for like Detroit. Looks like you even go to rain as this low pressure goes right over Lake Erie and like Cleveland. But you might hang on to all frozen precipitation in the far northwest corner of Ohio. And here's the progression of the storm. Wednesday morning, Wednesday midday, Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, getting into Thursday morning, and then this heads off into the northeast. And to show you guys the northeast, here it comes. A lot of icing once again in western Virginia, eastern West Virginia. Look at this wintry mix moving into PA. Could get a burst of snow north of New York City, New Jersey, all the way up to Albany. All of southern New England could get a burst of snow. And definitely could get just a solid wintry mix. And I really think the New York City and the Boston graphics I showed you for the first system is probably a mixture between both systems. But you stop it here Thursday morning, the 13th, later this week. This is just an ugly wintry mess. You even switched to rain down here, which is probably a good thing because that's a long period of freezing rain down here in Virginia, West Virginia. And then this could turn into a high-impact winter weather event for Maine, but with a low pressure cutting across Quebec and Ontario, it's even going to try to change you guys the rain up in Maine. So, once again, individual graphics will start west to east. Colorado, 4 to 6 inches in Denver. So this definitely bumped up. Calling for more snow the further east and northeast you get into Colorado. Good 4 to 6 inch snowstorm, but I mean, this is a pretty decent event for Denver now. I wouldn't be surprised. We start to get some winter storm warnings up more widespread across Colorado. Just a lot of winter weather advisories, winter storm watches for now, but that could change. And then we start to move into northern Texas. Amarillo, not expecting much, but you get into the northern counties of the panhandle of Texas, then the panhandle of Oklahoma. A few tenths of an inch of snow. Guymon going for around an inch of snow. And then a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice is expected in some of these areas. And then Oklahoma itself, maybe a dusting of snow and sleet, a little bit of freezing rain in northern Oklahoma. And then the ice forecast, once again, they do not have a great graphic pulled up. I don't know what's up with Oklahoma. They just do not update their site. It's quite annoying, but not going to take any shots there. They just don't update their graphics. So I'm sorry, Oklahoma. I will just try to do something on the fly for you guys here because I feel bad. Just have to kind of look at the model version of this, and this is the freezing rain forecast. It's actually dropped, so that's good, but some areas could get as much as maybe a 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain sort of west of Oklahoma City. But just the glaze, I don't think this will be a high impact event for you guys. Kansas itself, I think once you get into that darker shade, well, I would say orange here, that's where you can get 8 to 12 inches of snow. Russell, 6 to 8. Dodge City, probably good for 3 to 5 inches of snow. Wichita, 3 inches. Emporia, 4 to 6. Lawrence, 6 to 8. Topeka, probably around 6 to 8. Maybe a little bit closer to that 8-inch mark. Atchison, 6 to 8. Shows a lot of kind of random towns in Kansas, but not many household names like Dodge City, for example. But Salina, 6 to 8. Could get some ice also. Should pull that up. A little bit of ice down here, especially in southeast Kansas. And then we head on up to Nebraska. This is a state. Nebraska and Iowa are two states where this is definitely uptrended. Kind of along Interstate 80 in Nebraska points south. Good for 4 to 6 inches of snow. But once you get into the far southern counties of Nebraska, someone can get 6 to 8 inches of snow. Falls City, 6 to 8. Omaha, 4 to 6. Lincoln, 4 to 6. York, 4 to 6 inches of snow. And Sioux City, 1 to 2 inches of snow. But definitely this would be an all-out winter storm in the southern counties of Nebraska. And then we start to move into the Springfield area in Missouri. Around maybe an inch at most for Springfield, not a whole lot. Joplin and Trace to 2 inches. Nevada 2 to 5. Warsaw 2 to 6 inches. Lebanon 1 to 3. Definitely could get some ice in this area. Springfield going for 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice. Basically up the Interstate 44 corridor, and Missouri could get some decent ice out of this. Definitely notable ice. So please be aware in this area of that. And then we look closer to the St. Louis area. As of now, they're going for about 2 inches or less in St. Louis. Once upon a time, this looked like a bigger event, but I'm leaning towards that too. I think you're going to get more ice. You head on down the interstate points west. Columbia 3 to 7. Quincy 6 to 10 inches of snow. And some of this down here is for this event tonight. But yeah, I mean, I think St. Louis itself, not going to be a big snow event. Now, icing, they don't have any updated icing graphics. Come on, guys. You're killing me. Killing my rhythm. Got to do this stuff on the fly. But let's look at Missouri. Come on. Let's see if we can find it quick. Missouri. Let's look at some icing totals. Yeah, so not going for a whole lot, but basically kind of south central Missouri into St. Louis, into Illinois. You know, you guys could certainly get in that darker pink, 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. It's not really showing a big event for St. Louis for this, but I think you could just get more snow than what it's, more freezing rain than what it's showing. And then we head on up closer. We'll kind of go back to Kansas City. 6 to 10 inches of snow forecast there. And basically the entire northern half of Missouri is good for 6 inches or more of snow. So we head on up to Iowa. 5 to 9 inches of snow forecast in Des Moines. But you get sort of east down the interstate close to Davenport. Maybe more. 5 to 10 in Davenport. Burlington 6 to 11. Cedar Rapids 5 to 10. Dubuque, once upon a time, only going for around 2 to 3 inches of snow in Dubuque. Now they're going for 5 to 10 inches. Fort Dodge 4 to 8. So this is definitely trending into a more significant event up here in Iowa. And then getting to Illinois, 3 to 5 in Springfield. Bloomington 4 to 7. Lincoln 3 to 6. Peoria 5 to 9. Galesburg 6 to 10. Champaign 2 to 4. This will be a bigger event for you guys for sure. And we're definitely going to get some freezing rain out of this, scattered about, but certainly south of the heaviest snow is going to get a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice to maybe as much as a 1/4 of an inch of ice, like in Champaign, Danville, you guys, Effingham, a little bit of ice, Edwardsville, closer to St. Louis, certainly notable ice. And then we got some good graphics out of Chicago. As of right now, 6 to 8 inches of snow in Chicago. Rockford, same thing. We get down to like Pontiac 4 to 6, Juliet 6 to 8. This will be a pretty big event for you guys, and this could uptrend. And then we had a little bit north up to Milwaukee. 5 to 10 inches of snow is now being forecast in Milwaukee. I say if they're calling for 5 to 10 inches of snow in Milwaukee, you could certainly get that in like Chicago. But Janesville 3 to 7, Madison 3 to 7. This is trending into a much more significant event for areas of Milwaukee. So hopefully you can see your area on this. And then northern Indiana, South Bend 4 to 8, LaPorte 5 to 8, Fort Wayne 1 to 3. Not much once you get closer to Indianapolis, but some icing is possible. And speaking of the ice, is what they're showing. I think more than this can actually happen. I think we're going to get over 1/10 of an inch of ice in some of these areas. Just a gut feeling. I think they'll increase this. But snow up here in lower Michigan, certainly a decent event for you guys. Lansing 6 to 8, Midland 6 to 8, Grand Rapids 6 to 8, Kalamazoo, same thing. Bad Axe going for around 8, Grayling 4 to 6, Detroit 2 to 3 inches of snow, and then we're probably going to get some ice going for around a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice in the southern areas of lower Michigan. And then throw the ball into northern Ohio. Not expecting much in this area. Toledo, 2 inches of snow. But I don't think this is going to be a big event. But we could definitely get some freezing rain out of this region, especially in the northwest areas of Ohio. Toledo going for 1/10 of an inch. Findlay over 1/10 of an inch. So, and then to look at the Northeast, this is the first event, right? This is the National Weather Service, and I want you to watch how this fills in up here. We're going to show you some zoomed in graphics of the Northeast with this event too, just not close enough to it. But a lot of snow is possible in the Adirondacks and northern Maine. And we could get a few inches of wet snow right from the get-go with this. And we can get some freezing rain too. But I know that doesn't help much for the Northeast, but we just need to get a little bit closer to this event before we start to break down those individual graphics. As far as what's coming forward, guys, I just want to take a look at the Euro. That system moves out, okay, with the one we just broke down. Another system will shoot across the Pacific and the Rockies, and then here it is right there. This will be another winter storm for the Great Lakes region. Areas in the Midwest is getting into Saturday, and then this will bring more winter weather and a whole lot of rain for areas of the South once again. And this is likely going to bring a severe weather episode for the Deep South, which I'll try to remember to talk about right at the end of the video. This is going to bring heavy rain. It's just going to bring a lot of issues. Could bring severe weather into Sunday too. But this is going to bring winter weather into the northern areas of the Northeast, and then a big cold front will make its way through. And then what happens after that, the Euro wants to throw another winter storm down into areas of the southern Midwest, all the way down to the Mid-South, and turns into another winter storm about 9 to 10 days out from the Mid-Atlantic, and then tries to grind up the coastline. And I just think we're going to get some wild runs. Latest GFS, same thing. We're done with that first system. Here comes that third system. Brings snow. It's colder through the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes area, through the Northeast as we're getting into this weekend. Severe weather, heavy rain down here to the south. It tries to crank up a big backside winter storm across the Appalachian Mountains Sunday. Okay, and then we start to get into next week. We got energy flying around, and here comes a winter storm cranking up across the Mid-South. And then look at the Carolinas getting a huge winter storm up into the Mid-Atlantic the end of next week. I just think there's going to be a lot going on, guys. Okay, and what I can tell you here is the 6 to 10 day forecast. It shows a lot of cold air dumping down to the lower 48. This is between the 16th through the 20th, going for below average temperatures in that blue. Okay, and then we look at, say, the 8 to 14 day outlook. The entire eastern half of the country going for below average temperatures. So spring is not sprung yet, guys. We are going to be dealing with colder temperatures for the foreseeable future. So if you got any last warm days left in the tank out there, enjoy them. I think we're pretty much done with them in my neck of the woods for a while. But the eastern U.S. going for below average temperatures, and it's not just cold and dry either. I mean, this is a wet pattern going for above average precipitation. And what I can tell you is if you look at this, the pattern at 500 millibars supports this area in blue. That's a huge area of low pressure, big dip in the jet and a trough and a storm system followed by cold air. And it supports a big system this weekend. Could be a blizzard in certain areas. And then another trough digs down midway through next week at 10 days out. And this is really what could bring in a prolonged period of cold air. And that trough just anchors over the eastern U.S. and amplifies. And this could bring colder temperatures. And I'm telling you, in my opinion, I think we're going to get some late winter mischief even for the South. That's just what I think. I don't know. And I mean, you look at this about a week from today, that is a lot of cold air dropping down. And if you look at the Euro ensemble, as far as cold air, the colder temperatures are in the blues, the greens, the Barney colors, like the purples. And then the warmer temperatures are in the warmer looking colors, like the reds. And we start getting into this weekend. Look how the cold air drops down. This is round number 1 of the cold air. Well below average temperatures blast into the central to eastern U.S. Maybe a little moderation. And then it just throws the cold air back down on us again. This is 10 days out, getting 11. And then for the foreseeable future, it just hangs on to below average temperatures. And remember, we've been talking about this a little bit left and right here. And this is the extended Euro outlook. And I've been mentioning this, how I thought eventually models were going to catch on to the favorable MJO progression. It's the 10th, so we're around right here, okay? See that 4, that 6, that's February 4, February 6, so we're at February 10th? So we're in phase 7 right now, okay? Once we get into phase 8, guys, which it's forecast to do by the end of the week, and then the next week, all next week we're in phase 8. That is a favorable phase for cold and stormy for the east. And it progresses into phase 1 and 2 and 3, which are also favorable phases. But we're going to get into phase 8. All MJO charts show this, and that is why models are adjusting to what they're doing. So I would watch next week for some wild stuff, even areas further south. There's just so much to go over, so much to talk about. And, I want to mention, we got the severe weather threat. When is this? This is for Wednesday. Calling for severe weather across the deep south. There's so much going on that I'm missing stuff. We get into day 4, day 5, day 6. Day 6, this is for Saturday. 15% risk. Already a huge slight risk for this coming Saturday for the deep south. And this could be a legit severe weather threat. And I think this could get into day 7 too for the southeast. Here in my neck of the woods in the Carolinas. So you got that too. And just the fact that we're going to get a lot of rain. And I'm kind of doing some of this on the fly here. I mean, look at the forecast rain totals for, let's look at the southeast. Running out of gas, guys. All right. This is the forecast rain totals between now and about the next week. I mean, I'm very worried about the southern apps because of the recovery efforts from Helene still. But over a half a foot, this is all rain right here. Look how much rain's going to fall. Flooding is going to be a concern in some of these areas across the southeast. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all, and y'all have a wonderful rest of your night.